Hello and welcome to the Forces Sports Show, your weekly roundup of the best action and biggest stories from across the services, coming up in the next half hour. Flying high, we're with the winners as the RAF hands out its sports awards for 2018. On a high, the Army clinched the Under-23 Inter-Services Rugby title. Aiming high, pride is at stake in the Inter-Unit Netball Championships. We start with the final sports awards for 2018, where the RAF have honoured their outstanding performers. Rugby player Josh McNally, who fought back from major health issues to captain London Irish, won Sportsman of the Year, with world champion powerlifter Natalie Marsh named Sportswoman of the Year. John Knighton was at the ceremony.
This is the third time Corporal Josh McNally has been nominated for Sportsman of the Year, but having recovered from a stroke and open heart surgery, not only did he help the RAF win the Inter-Services title this year, but is now also captain of London Irish. He was chosen ahead of the RAF's Kiwi International skeleton racer Corporal Rhys Thornbury and champion international from judo Corporal Andy Melbourne.
It's been a great day today. Obviously RAF 100, the Chief of the Air Staff summed it up pretty well that this year has been some outstanding achievements. I'm also quite humbled to get there. I was sportsman. I was up against two great guys. I know them quite well. Andy Melbourne and Rhys Thornbury are doing a lot in their sport. Like anyone could have won it, but obviously thrilled to take that award and obviously for all the things I've done this year.
Sportswoman of the Year is SAC Natalie Marsh, who's now a multi-world record holder in powerlifting. She faced the stiffest of challenges from Corporal Sarah Partridge from water skiing and wakeboarding, and Flight Lieutenant Chrissy Zigzauer, whose captaincy has transformed RAF women's rugby. Natalie was unable to be at the awards because she's away on operations, her title collected by members of the powerlifting team. Team of the Year is the all-dominant men's hockey team, who are in a league of their own after a third successive Inter-Services title. They were selected ahead of table tennis and the snowboarding squad.
It's the success of a big effort for the last few years from a lot of different people throughout the last 3 years. Huge input from my predecessor Rob Machin, who I took over from last year, and then Ian, our coach, who's been around for the last over 8, 9, 10 and the rest years.
So Ian, you've really been the continuity there now in this ever-changing RAF team.
Yeah, I mean, when I first came in, I think it would be maybe only 1 or 2 players were playing civilian hockey. It was something that I stressed, that if we wanted to improve the standard of the RAF team, then more people needed to go out and play civilian hockey in order that they play at a highest level they could and get some continuity. And I don't think there's a single player now that's not playing for a civilian club, and obviously some have gone on to the highest level that they can play, representing England and Great Britain.
Further awards went to Squadron Leader Katie Sharman and Wing Commander Nick Robson, Administrator and Official of the Year for their sports of tug of war and women's rugby.
So many events going on for RF 100, and rugby union is just a small part of it, but we've tried to play our part in that, and it's been fantastic.
Not just the men, but very much the women's game, and everyone's thinking on the RF, you're so close to taking something away from the army after all these years.
Yeah, the ladies are so close, and something that's so wanted as well. So it was a shame we couldn't equal it with the men last year being Inter-Service champions, but it's coming. It will happen. The girls are working at it. They're working hard, and it will happen with time when it's needed to.
There were also Lifetime Achievement Awards for Warrant Officer Paul Shanks, again for Rugby Union, Flight Sergeant Fred Harris for Judo, and Chief Technician Steve Perry, the RAF's Mr Nordic Skiing. The main winners here will join their counterparts in the Royal Navy and Army for the UCAF Sports Awards, which will take place in London next March.
Well, there were also other special awards presented at the ceremony to mark RF 100. Air Chief Marshal Sir Stephen Hillier handed out honours to the orienteering baton relay team, the 100 by 10 kilometre world record team and the RAF football squad. He told John that the centenary year has inspired the RAF on the sports field.
These are always great events, and I so much enjoy being here and celebrating all of the achievement and the participation in RAF sport. But as you say, this year, a special year, and I'm pretty certain that everybody has gone that extra mile this year to go above and beyond in sport. We've seen the results for that, and it's a real part of our Inspire legacy, I think, from RAF 100 is RAF sport and the strengths that we have there.
It really has, as you say, the centenary seems to have been like almost an X factor, doesn't it, for so many of your teams and individuals this year?
Well, I think, Inspire is such an central part of it, and what's inspired us? Well, it's that legacy and the history of that 100 years of achievement on operations and in sport as well. It's what we do today, that's helped inspire us, and then looking to the future. We're into our second century now with sort of pride and confidence, and I think that's everybody in the Air Force just feels that sort of extra something this year, and what clearly we want to do is continue that on into the future as well.
I think it says a lot as well that several of the nominees can't be here today, and the reason why they can't be here is because they are on operations, and it shows that you are airmen and airwomen first and sportsmen and women second.
Well, that's right. I mean, the two go hand in hand, of course, is the qualities that people develop through sport, that teamwork, self-discipline, professionalism, and stamina. Those are just absolutely the qualities that we want on operations as well. But the RAF's busier than it's been in sort of a very long time. And I think to do as much as we're doing on operations, and we did RAF 100 extremely well as well. It's just a huge commitment, demonstration of the commitment of everybody across the service.
You will have read through all the citations, I know, very carefully, so you know virtually everything there is to know about the nominees today, but some of them incredibly difficult to make a judgment call.
Well, I mean, I have the immense privilege of presenting the awards. I just don't envy the judging panels who eventually come up with the conclusions, because everyone has demonstrated an exceptional level of achievement and commitment and participation. Be that the people who are performing the sports themselves, or the coaching staff, or the officials, all volunteers and all doing a fantastic job. So I don't envy the choices. Everybody is worthy of recognition.
The Army have won this year's Under-23 Inter-Services Rugby Union Championship. The title had been held by the Royal Navy since 2015, but the Army followed up their victory over the senior service with another win in tricky conditions at RAF Halton to clinch it. Kath Brazier was watching.
This is what winning looks like after 4 years. The Under-23 trophy has been in Navy hands for the last 3. Now it's back with the Army. And it wasn't just the opposition they were up against. There's nothing quite like a swirling wind and driving rain to test these military youngsters. The home side got points on the board first. Luke Armstrong using the wind to his advantage to plant this flat, straight penalty kick after 10 minutes. But their handling let the Light Blues down. Basic errors creeping in as they tried to play the ball out wide. The Army, for the most part, looked after the ball, and that patience paid off. Their first try coming after a number of phases. Aaron James pouncing over and converting his own score for a 4-point lead. The Army discipline, however, was called into question a few times as the RAF added another penalty kick just before the break to keep things close at 6-7. In the second half, an early yellow card for the Army put them on the back foot. The RAF with a chance, but losing out to the wind, playing havoc with the ball in the air. The visitors, though, were playing with the wind for the second 40, and they went on to make the most of it. Skipper Josh Rakiau scoring out wide, with James adding another conversion. As the gloom set in, the men in red just kept coming, recycling the ball, going through the phases and sucking in the RAF defence. Left wing Bani Walu Mali Darioni, fresh from his sin bin, sweeping across in the right corner. Adam Pennistone taking over the kicking duties from James. The final score came from an RAF put-in at the scrum. The Army with a forward drive towards the line. V. Vakatali's hands on the ball for the final push, and the try was given. The RAF not happy, but they had to accept they were beaten by the better side, 6 points to 26.
Well, we have to adapt in the condition. We were in the change room, we went first half, we play against the wind, and second half, you just trample over them, and that's what we came in and done, that's what we've done.
Relatively new squad, kind of full of unknowns really, and the boys have come together really well. We've created that sort of team environment where the boys want to be part of, and they've come in and bought into all that we've set out as coaches.
At the start of this campaign, Mal was worried that the Army under-23s were lacking a front row, but his team did him proud, winning by sticking to their game plan. And this year's tournament will surely have put a few new names on the possible list to make that step up to the senior team.
The Army Inter-Unit Netball Championships have been taking place in Aldershot. Colchester Garrison took the title in the competition, which is widening its appeal year after year. Teams from across the UK took to the courts in Aldershot for this year's championships. The side from York University Officers Training Corps equipped themselves well in the early stages of the tournament. The competition is open not just to serving soldiers, but also those hoping to join the ranks having completed further education. But having raced into a 5-1 half-time lead against 3 Regiment RLC, the students came unstuck, eventually losing 8-7. So, as the logistic team confirmed their spot in the semi-finals, York were left to reflect on their own cup run.
We put a team together quite last minute. We've only had about a week or two of training, so really impressed with how we've done actually.
Yeah, and do you think now that you'll keep together as a team, perhaps?
Yeah, definitely. Well, our main competition for OTC is Queen's Cup Challenge at the end of the year, so I think it's all the OTCs in the country all come together and perform there, so yeah.
Netball across the military is enjoying huge popularity. With the England national team winning major tournaments, more women are taking to the game. The Army have a number of stars of their own, including Ellie Nawale. She celebrated signing for Super League side Celtic Dragons by helping to power Colchester Garrison into the final. The Fijian international was in fine form as Colchester brushed aside 3 Regiment RLC 14-4 in their semi-final. With Army teammate Dee Bolokoro also at Dragons this year, Nawale hopes Super League success will lead to further international call-ups.
This year is a totally new team for Celtic Dragons, so we are working really hard during training and on court and off the court as well. So we are hoping for to moving up the ladder.
We look forward to seeing that, and of course it's a World Cup year as well for netball in this country. The World Cup is coming here, so chance perhaps for you to force your way into that Fiji squad?
Yeah, we are. So next year is World Cup for Fiji. We have been exchanging emails from coach back in Fiji. So yeah, fingers crossed. Let's see what it brings.
And in some small part, this competition may indeed help you.
Oh yeah, yes. Inter-unit, we like I've mentioned before, we never forget where we started. Like this is where we started from, like very low level netball, and look where we are today.
Colchester didn't have it all their own way in the final. Opponents, one UK division, made a steady start, with Zoe Rees-Gay putting her team in front. Gradually, Colchester grew into the match, and with Nawale on target, they began to take control. The second half saw them pull further away as Lisa Wainwright added her name to the score sheet. By the end, Colchester claimed the title with a 10-6 victory, much to the delight of their skipper.
It's brilliant to bring the girls who are developing here and the girls with experience, and it's just a brilliant all-round competition for everyone, really friendly and welcome, any levels welcome.
You play as a garrison, so that means you've got a number of cap badges together, so what's it like to come away with a bit of silverware?
Oh, absolutely fantastic. We always come runners-up as a regiment, but as a garrison with the inter-units, we've got more females, and it's absolutely amazing, so we're really chuffed with this.
With the silverware safely secured, Colchester will hope to defend their crown in 12 months' time. Well, there's been success for British Army athletes in a major international judo championship. Lieutenant Alex Pask won the silver medal at the African Judo Open in Cameroon in the 73-kilogram category. It's his first medal at continental level. And there was also success for another British soldier, Lance Corporal Rachel Hawkes, who took bronze in the 70-kilo category. Elsewhere in the Inter-Services T20 Cricket Championship will return to Lords next year. It's been confirmed the three services will battle it out at the home of cricket on Thursday the 30th of May. The RAF are the defending champions. Well, there's a new head coach for the Army women's rugby team. Major Gemma Stonebridge-Smith has taken over the role and she's been outlining her hopes for the season.
The Army are the dominant side when it comes to inter-services rugby, having never lost a match against their Navy or Air Force rivals. Such is their reputation for providing stern opposition, international sides come calling for regular fixtures. 2019 will see the Army women take on 5 international teams, not including England under-20s. Hoping to mastermind her side to victory is new head coach Major Gemma Stonebridge-Smith. The player-turned-coach is looking forward to challenging herself and her team in the season ahead.
Really exciting this season. We've got the funding for 2 full teams now. So what we're really looking to do is develop our A team, so we've got that pull through into the senior squad. We're looking to maintain the same level of opposition, so we're looking to play some great international fixtures, some for the first time. So we're looking for Sweden's full international team to come across this year. So some real exciting fixtures to really put the girls under some pressure.
Well, that really will be an eye-catching fixture, a game against Sweden. I know last year you played sort of Germany, the Netherlands. There was a side that played South Africa as well. So in terms of women's rugby, you are setting that bar so high for other people to sort of take note.
Yeah, absolutely. And what we really want to look at is how we can pitch ourselves on the international standard. So at the moment, when we're playing against teams that are sort of 16th, 15th in the international league table, and that's where we want to be pitching ourselves. We're really hoping for a fixture against Spain, which again, I think they're sitting sort of 12th in the league table. So really trying to drive forward the standard of women's rugby and services women's rugby.
This 2-day training camp in Aldershot features regular and reservist soldiers. The Army boast a number of internationals in their setup, including players from Wales and Ireland.
I'm really blessed to have a real plethora of international talent, with Gemma, with Beth, and also with Sarah Minaj, most recently obviously being capped again for Ireland. But on the flip side of that, I've also got a lot of grassroots talents that we're being able to pull through from within the service. So I'm really blessed as a coach to have a real spectrum of talent that we can push going forward.
And it's not just regulars either, you're embracing those that are in the reserves, and that's a really important message because they give up so much of their time to commit to being part of the army family, and it's great that they can come out and be part of the playing staff as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to see so many of the reservists that are regularly turn up to training camps like this. I appreciate their employers of obviously having to release them, but it makes for a whole force approach then, and allows us to develop the sport really. And of course, those players all go back to their club sides and take what we've done here and develop it, the women's rugby and in the civilian setup as well. So.
As a former player, has the transition to coach been a seamless one for Gemma?
So it's seamless in the sense of I've been coaching for a while. It's always going to be difficult stepping out of being a player and being the head coach, particularly with the relationships that you then need to have with those people. But I think certainly from my perspective, it's a positive move. I think from the players' perspective, it's a positive move as well. So.
We hope that they can embrace you, and because you've got some big things on the horizon, not just those internationals, but the key fixtures for you always inter-services, and the RAF are banging on that door of yours. You've never lost an inter-services fixture, but the light blues are getting closer all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's great for women's rugby in the whole. Nobody wants to see a game of rugby where it's a whitewash from one side. So the closer we can get all 3 of the teams to make it a real spectacle of women's rugby, the better as far as I'm concerned. Obviously, I want to maintain the championship title, and that is one of our goals this season, and we'll be really pushing the girls forward to make sure we do that.
The Army women get their season underway in the new year when both the A team and senior side take on Scotland A and the national team in Edinburgh.
And that is it for this week. Don't forget you can see all the action as we get it on forces.net and this show and more on YouTube. Well, it's been a great few weeks of action in the Inter-Services Under-23 rugby. We'll leave you with some of the highlights from this year's championship. Bye for now.